A Snake in the Grass by R.K Narayan. Rashipuran Krishna Swami Narayan, born in 1906 and died in 2001, the Sahit Academy Award winner in 1960, was one of the most accomplished and well-known Indian writers in English. Realism, irony, and humor are the distinguished strength of his works. He paints the idiosyncrasies of people with consummate skill. His works include the guide novel Next Sunday, collection of essays, and Lolly Road, collection of short stories. A Snake in the Grass, the piece taken from An Astrologer's Day and Other Stories, dramatically presents the alarm and disturbance caused in a household threatened by a cobra. The character of some of the people taking part in the hunt is dexterously revealed. Narayan also touches gently on the people's superstitions concerning snakes. An undercurrent of irony and humor marks many of his observations in the story. A Snake in the Grass. On a sunny afternoon, when the inmates of the bungalow were at their siesta, a cyclist rang his bell at the gate frantically and announced, "A big cobra has got into your compound. It crossed my wheel." He pointed out to its track under the gate and resumed his journey. The family, consisting of the mother and her 4 sons, assembled at the gate in great agitation. The old servant Das was sleeping in the shed. They shook him out of his sleep and announced to him the arrival of cobra. "There is no cobra," he replied, and tried to dismiss the matter. They swore at him and forced him to take an interest in the cobra. "The thing is something here. It is not found before the evening. We will dismiss you. Your neglect of the garden and the lawns is responsible for all these dreadful things coming in." Some neighbors dropped in. They looked accusingly at Das. "You have the laziest servant on earth," they said. "He ought to keep the surroundings tidy." "I have been asking for a grass cutter for months," Das said. In one voice, they ordered him to manage with the available things and learn not to make demands. He persisted. They began to speculate how much it would cost to buy a grass cutter. A neighbor declared that you could not think of buying any article made of iron till after the war. He chanted banalities of wartime prices. The second son of the house asserted that he could get anything he wanted at controlled prices. The neighbor became eloquent on black market. A heated debate followed. The rest washed in apathy. At this point, the college boy of the house butted in with, "I read in an American paper that 30,000 people die of snake bite every year." Mother threw up her arms in horror and announced thus. The boy elaborated the statistics. "I have worked it out 83 a day. That means every 20 minutes someone is dying of cobra bite. As we have been talking here, one person has lost his life somewhere." Mother nearly screamed on hearing it. The compound looked sinister. The boys brought in bamboo sticks and pressed one into the hands of the servant also. He kept desultorily poking it into the foliage with a cynical air. "The fellow is beating about the bush," someone cried aptly. They tucked up their dhotis, seized every available knife and crowbar, and began to hack the garden. Creepers, bushes, and lawns were laid low. What could not be trimmed as cut to the root. The inner walls of the house brightened with the unobstructed glare streaming in. When there was nothing more to be done, Das asked triumphantly, "Where is the snake?" As old beggar cried for alms at the gate, they told her not to pester when they were engaged in a snake hunt. On hearing it, the old woman became happy. "You are fortunate. It is God Subramanya who has come to visit you. Don't kill the snake." Mother was in hearty agreement. "You are right. I forgot all about the promised Abhishekam. This is a reminder. She gave a coin to the beggar who promised to send down a snake charmer as she went. Presently, an old man appeared at the gate and announced himself as a snake charmer. They gathered around him. He spoke to them of his life and activities and his power over snakes. They asked admiringly, "How do you catch them?" Thus he said, pouncing upon a hypothetical snake on the ground. They pointed the direction in which the cobra had gone and asked him to go ahead. He looked helplessly about and said, "If you show me the snake, I'll at once catch it. Otherwise, what can I do? The moment you see it again, send for me. I live nearby." He gave his name and address and departed. At 5 in the evening, they threw away their sticks and implements and repaired to the veranda to rest. They had turned up every stone in the garden and cut down every grass blade and shrub, so that the tiniest insect coming into the garden should have no cover. They were loudly discussing the various measures they would take to protect themselves against reptiles in the future, when Das appeared before them carrying a water pot whose mouth was sealed with a slab of stone. He put the pot down and said, "I have caught him in this. I saw him peeping out of it. I saw him before he could see me." He explained at length the strategy he had employed to catch and seal up the snake in the pot. They stood at a safe distance and gazed on the pot. Das had the glow of a champion on his face. "Don't call me an idler hereafter," he said. Mother complimented him on his sharpness and wished she had placed some milk in the pot as a sort of religious duty. Das picked up the pot cautiously and walked off, saying that he would leave the pot with its content, with the snake charmer living nearby. He became the hero of the day. They watched him in great admiration and decided to reward him adequately. It was 5 minutes since Das was gone when the youngest son cried, "See there!" Out of a hole in the compound, well, a cobra emerged. It glided along towards the gate, paused for a moment to look at the gathering in the veranda with its hood half open. It crawled under the gate and disappeared along a drain. When they recovered from the shock, they asked, "Does it mean that there are 2 snakes here?" The college boy murmured, "I wish I had taken the risk and knocked the water pot from Das' hand. We might have known what it contained."